Market Peak with Seth and Matt. Welcome everybody, this is Seth and Matt with Market Peak, P-E-E-K. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, and a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, namely NASDAQ and the tech bouncing back, which is pretty awesome. All right, so StockTwits is on its head. I don't know if you guys heard or saw, those of you who use StockTwits, people have been posting bearish, but posting positive things. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of a mess, to be honest with you. And Roblox is going to be premiering tomorrow. So with that, we don't know what the price is going to be. It's supposed to be a big deal. We'll see what happens. Matt's going to have his three charts, and as always, we're going to make a prediction. So, of course, we got to say we're not financial advisors. None of this is official advice. Do your own research. Talk to your professionals. All that neat stuff. And please leave us a comment with your thoughts. I got to say, when we post Shrimp Dude, Natural Shrimp Dude, the shrimp people, like, they're all over that. I love they leave comments. They like all that stuff. So we got to give it to the shrimp people. You know, you guys bring it, which is awesome, which is unfortunate because shrimp, you know, not having a good time, that's for sure. So we might as well go ahead and just start with that one, I guess. So go ahead and look at the portfolio. We didn't actually make any moves. Still have the sundial call that I've had for a month now, which is this Friday. Probably not going to get to 250. SOS for looking like it's going to possibly make it up, believe it or not. It was actually almost at $7 today, which is great. And it was up in post, which is great. So nice little push. I might be able to actually make something on that. I've had that one for a while as well. ASXC, which was TRXC. That's next week. There's a possibility it can get to 10, but it's got a double, which isn't going to happen. But good thing is Watt. So I had a $4 call. I have that in another account, $4.50 call and a $5.50 call, as you can see here. Both looking good. Watt was amazing today. So Watt was up 11% and actually up 4% in post. So 15% day, which is awesome. You know, we appreciate that. That's for sure. It's definitely helping me with the calls.
Back to that $5 level.
I think so. I mean, I have until April for that. So that being said, like let's get into it. So, okay, I have the $4.50 call, I have the $5.50 call, I have the $4 call. $4 call is already covered by good like 15 cents. It doesn't expire until April 16th, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Like, let's say it just pops up to like 7 and the volatility goes crazy. Clearly you sell, right? Like that's just a no-brainer.
If it goes to 7 from here, absolutely. Okay. You'll have no other choice.
Sure. So, but
that being said,
what if it trickles, you know,
of course
it just keeps climbing? Like, is there a point where, let's say the volatility is going to stay about 100, 150%, which is today was anywhere from like 130 up to like 150 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Let's say it just keeps trickling up. When would I sell the $4?
That's the pivot point right there. That's the pivot point, in my opinion, IV. I look at IV.
Sure.
And if you get a sudden spike, and not a corresponding increase in price, that's typically evidence of buying.
Okay.
Right. So like IV is a pretty good leading indicator as far as, you know, the direction of your trade, especially when you're dealing with volatile stocks like Watt.
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm bullish on Watt. Obviously, I believe in the technology. It's a great company. It's a great story. It's a good, plays into that big ESG, renewable energy theme trade too, which is hot and going to get hotter. So I don't really know if you can lose at this price level. I would definitely be a buyer. And look, if it goes down more, just scale in more.
All right, so jumping into shrimp. So real quickly, shrimp's taking a little bit of a dive. They had a $100 million shelf offering, which, you know, they have a lot of expansion going on. They're building facilities. They got stuff going on in Florida, possibly soon. Talking about Puerto Rico, Iowa, Texas is already online. Iowa's coming online soon. They're gonna need some capital. Like, and people are just totally dumping on this thing like this is big freaking deal. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
it always happens.
Any correction in shrimp seems like a buying opportunity to me.
100%. And if we actually look at the candles real fast, let me go here. So candles.
Was this sell-off the sell-off on volume?
There was actually one dip. It's funny because I posted it in there's a shrimp streets bets or something, SHMP streets bets subreddit or something like that. I posted a picture, but yeah, so there's just like this big sell-off comparative volume wise, right at, looks like 325. But it stayed right there, right at that line, about 49 cents. And it seemed to bounce up. Well, not bounce, but it seemed to decide it didn't want to go any lower than that. So hopefully that sell-off is as low as it's going to go. And it just keeps going up from there. But I just, it's taken a beating. It was at like 70 some cents less, like 5 days ago. So good time to get in. 51 cents right now. We did a show on it. You can see it. It's the 5 Reasons You're Losing Money episode. And we look into shrimp and what they got going on. And like you said, it's an excellent buying opportunity. I'm just bummed that people are just, it lost another 12% today. It's like, come
Shunning
on.
it. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I got 1,000 more shares today.
Yeah, it's less than $1. Just dollar cost average your way down.
I got it for 57 cents. I'll be honest with you.
It's going to be a successful company.
It is. It is. It is.
Yeah.
They're doing.
It's not like most microcap stocks where there's like this disconnect between fundamentals and price.
Yeah.
I think there's actually, no, I will say.
And the secrets.
I think. I think price needs to actually catch up with fundamentals in this case.
100%.
Ironically.
I mean, people just don't know about it. That's why we talk about it. SHMP, look into it. They have proprietary technology that right now they're using for shrimp, but once that's proven and the testing facility is just about to finish up, they're doing in their final stage. And then after that, they'll be able to start. I mean, obviously they want to ramp up the shrimp, make sure that's going and stable, but they'll be able to test this
need a lot of shrimp
on finfish, on salmon. And it's all about being able to raise this stuff without chemicals, without the need for any type of, unnatural means. It's natural shrimp. So anyway,
without a need to overfish.
That's true too.
The ocean.
That's true too.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
And
90%, we've said this all in that show, but 90% of the seafood we eat here in the United States is imported. 50% of that is farm raised. So if we can, think about it, it's farm raised and then it gets shipped over here. It's usually frozen, which is okay. But still, if you can get just natural shrimp farmed here in America, completely clean, I just feel like it's pretty awesome. Anyway, the whole shrimp thing took a little longer than I was expecting. So anyway, tech rebound. So tech went crazy. Tesla today went crazy. It was up, what was it, like 19%?
20% at one point, maybe.
I mean, it was, and then actually post-market, it jumped up again. So it ended at, 673, and post-market, it's up to 688. So it looks like Tesla is about to rebound, which is good. It's great for my IRA, that's for sure.
Bust out all those shorts.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what.
People love getting short on Tesla. They love it.
They do.
They're addicted to it.
And you know what? Sorry about that, folks.
Even now.
Sorry about that. So it's funny, too, because if you actually look at the volume, it really wasn't like that much more volume than you would expect. I mean, it's a little bit more, but it was about the same as kind of when it was going down. So,
Option gamma squeeze.
Oh,
mini gamma squeeze.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. There's a couple stocks. SOS. I would love if you continue to squeeze. We not to say you're squeezing at all. I just hope, you could squeeze just a little bit. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Tesla.
Like I said, I think the squeeze is coming there. It just might not come, in tandem with, all these other squeezes.
Sure. Sure.
It needs to take its turn.
One squeeze at a time, please, people. Come on.
Yeah, one squeeze at a time. Let's kick it down a notch. One squeeze at a time. Thank you.
I'll tell you what. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, obviously, GME did really well today. GME's been on a tear. It's up like 70% in the last couple days. AMC is doing pretty well. I feel like I could jump in AMC because AMC is one of those ones that could potentially it's got more room, But yeah, man.
Well, and there was talk about some sort of partnership with Amazon. Do you remember that?
Yep. That helped.
So, I mean, that's just kind of hanging in the air right now.
A little bit.
So there's something to expect there.
AMC did pretty well today. GME did pretty well today. They're both like 20%. AMC up 13%. That's actually good for AMC. AMC is usually like half of what GME does. GME was up over 40% yesterday. So, yeah, tech is back. Virgin Galactic, was up. Actually, had a nice little run up today. Yeah, 13-14% for Virgin Galactic. I mean, they're Watt, which is a tech company as well. So I'm really happy that tech is back. It's a beautiful thing.
Why is it back?
Why is it? Why do
you think it's back?
I think because nobody really expected this to be, I mean, some people did, but most people expected this to be a nice little correction. And the people that got in yesterday, I think they're like, okay, we ended up today. Maybe I'll jump in tomorrow because it's Tuesday. It's probably going to be down. Maybe I'll get some more. And people are like, oh, it's Tuesday and we're going up. So I think we need to jump on this now before it gets crazy, because Tuesday and up Tuesday is a pretty unusual thing. So I think it's a little bit of FOMO, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying the dip buying crowd showed up?
I think so.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I would say so. That's definitely a succinct way to say everything that I just said, for sure. So
yeah. Well, what I was pointing at, what I was getting to, is that it may be more complicated beneath the surface.
It could be,
because a 4% intraday move is a lot for a big index like that.
Yeah,
and it seems like a rotation. It seems like something big just happened.
Sure.
But we'll see how that plays out.
We will definitely see how it plays out. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we do our predictions at the end of the week, but we've been predicting since last week that we were going to have a little bit of a dip. We actually did expect a little bit of a dip today, but we did expect after today for things to just go up. So it looks like we're already on our way to do that. I feel like it's going to continue. We'll probably have our dip on Friday, which we normally do, which we didn't last Friday. So maybe we'll get back to that sense of normalcy. And hopefully it's great for everybody. So don't buy your calls yet, though. Let's just see what happens. So, all right. So really quick, I don't know if you guys heard, but there's like this whole thing going on with stock twits and how the hedgies are buying the information so they can see what exactly is more bullish so they can short it and attack and this and that. Stock twits has been a mess. I think the best thing you can do is just not put bullish or bearish. I have a couple here that I read that were pretty funny because after a while they just started to get a little bit confusing, and it was like, all right, anyway. So this is for Rocket. Shifted my Roth IRA out of Rocket and into floppy disk companies. Can't wait to buy Zune. So, which is pretty funny. I remember the Zune. God, what a disaster that was. So Microsoft, come on, man. You gotta, do a little better than that. So Rocket.
We'll find out what actually happened with this hack.
That's true. Could be.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a story for another day.
Probably tomorrow.
Think we'll hear it tomorrow?
Given how quickly this market moves.
Yeah, it could be.
Quickly the news cycle moves.
For sure. I mean, they're going to see our podcast, and it's going to be all over the place, and, So,
I'd rather stay off Vladimir Putin's radar if possible.
That's impossible. We're already on his radar.
We got to throw down.
You got to understand, we don't talk about it here, but whatever they're doing to us, we're doing double to them, and that includes China.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the truth for now. So it's just a part of the deal. But that solar winds thing, man, just completely changed the game. There's no doubt about that. We thought Stuxnet was like, holy crap. So, all right. So Rocket, dump this trash and buy silver because you can't buy a house with a mortgage anymore starting Monday. Okay. Rocket, open and shut case. Take profits to Blockbuster, which is actually undervalued. So I don't know. It's just some weird shit going on there. But anyway, I think the best thing is not to post bullish or bearish, but it's just so hard to see like what's going on with some of the more popular stocks. And now Roblox. Yeah. So Roblox is premiering on the market tomorrow. It's a pretty big company. They've got $29.5 billion valuation from money raised in January. They have their active users jumped 85% in 2020. A lot of it's because people were stuck at home, let's be honest. Up to 32.6 million active users daily, 32.6. The number of hours that players spent on the app more than doubled to 30.6 billion. So this is a pretty popular, right? Popular company. Basically, you sign up, you can make your own games, or you can play other people's games. So it's a platform to make your own, and you charge whatever you want. Roblox gets a percentage of that, and
that's how they monetize it.
That's how they monetize it. Yeah. So and I don't know if maybe you had mentioned once before, we discussed this really briefly, that maybe they charge to upload the game, but I feel like it's being made on their platform. So there might be a fee of some sort just to keep people from just posting crap. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see that.
There's typically a publishing fee. Yeah.
Sure.
And typically it's hefty.
Oh, really?
It's definitely a barrier to entry for a lot of developers. Yeah.
Wow.
But Roblox seems to want to bring down that wall and let as many people in as it can.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Oh,
I think it's going to make a lot of
32.6
money.
million of them. I think it'll make a lot of money. They're not profitable yet, though, which is interesting. I didn't look into exactly why all that may or may not be. I'm sure a lot of it is technology, and getting so big so fast is expensive.
Yeah. So my guess is they find a way to actually charge for some sort of in-game function. You know what I mean? That kind of like carries with it the mark of their brand.
Sure.
So maybe you can buy a special Roblox, I don't know, weapon or something like that. They'll find ways. They'll find ways to slowly, monetize their platform and.
I'll tell you what,
advertising. Obviously,
I see licensing out the wazoo with this. Movies like Lego would probably sue if they try to do that because they do look very similar. They do look very similar. But either way, I think it's pretty awesome. They're $35 a shares. I think what they were
IPO at basically.
Well, that's what they're saying would be a fair number. Who knows what it's going to be? Who knows what it's going to cost by the time we get it or have access to it as well? Because people are going to have access to it before we do, that's for sure. And then you have, before market and all that. But a lot of times when stuff like this happens, it'll go straight up and then it'll just completely crash to lower beforehand. So good possible day trading opportunity. Long term, probably going to wait for a dip, but it might not dip. It's hard to say.
It's going to be interesting. Depends on what the options community wants to do a week in to the IPO.
Sure.
So, here's what I think. Unlike a lot of the other unicorn IPOs this year, this company has good fundamentals.
Yeah. And it's video games. Let's be honest. The video games are they're huge.
Yeah. They're their own separate art form that I don't think, gets recognized the way it should.
No, it's 100%. I'm with you.
Yeah.
We'll see. So tomorrow, RBLX. I already have it in my list to watch. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, see what it is.
So question to you.
Yeah.
Do you plan on waiting for it to hit a certain price to buy, or say it comes out the gate $42, $43, something like that, a little above the prediction? Would you then say, I think it's going to go higher. I believe in this company. Let's buy now. Or what would you do?
I think it's going to go higher in the first day, maybe the first half of the first day. So it was a direct listing, not an IPO. And they cited the issues with Lyft and all that. I don't know specifically what the direct listing is going to offer them. That's less prohibitive than an IPO. Do you know what that is possibly?
So, to me, the difference is when you plan an IPO and you launch that, there's much more anticipation.
Okay.
Right. You're being IPO'd by a major firm too, by a big bank. So, there are nuanced differences. I'm not one to speak on the fine details, the granular details, but yeah, this seems like a more subtle way to raise capital in a public market.
Less flashy, maybe less humble as well, perhaps.
Yeah, more humble. Yeah, that's another way I put it. And that's another thing I didn't like about the Lyft, Uber, Bumble, Airbnb, so on and so forth. IPOs is that, they
remember GoPro?
They weren't there.
Dude, GoPro was a disaster. Disaster. It blew up, and then I don't know,
because they didn't make anything else. Although it is a good product, in my opinion.
It is. What is GPRO? Am I right on that? Yeah, GoPro. So $829. It's just been a freaking disaster. That's all there is to it. So $829, bro. So yeah, at one point it was up to up to 80. Yeah, right. 93. The problem is they didn't innovate.
Put that one on the watch list.
They didn't innovate. All right, so let's move on. So I guess first of all, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, all that stuff. Spank that, we like to say, or I like to say. Matt puts up with it, but spank that like button. So stock feature today. So we're going to be talking about Palantir, which has got a lot of controversy going on. Not controversy, but it's one of those ones that's supposed to have taken off.
It's controversial.
And it was, okay, sure. So yeah, Kathy Woods, we all know Kathy Woods. She's the ARC CEO. She bought, 2.6 million shares of Palantir. And people are like, why would she buy so much? And she's been heralded as being probably one of the greatest investors of her time and this and that. So, it dropped to a certain price, I would assume, and she decided to jump in. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting stock. This is something that you had mentioned to me for the first time not that long ago. And, you had thought we should give it its own little feature. So here we are. So shrouded in mystery, as they say.
And I say that because any large-scale data mining company working almost exclusively with the government, to me, is shrouded in mystery.
Sure.
To be fair, they have an eccentric CEO, Alex Karp. He's a character, brilliant person. They have some interesting investors, Peter Thiel, PayPal, where you know him from, and Stanley Druckenmiller, although he came in a little later.
Sure.
So, I mean, you have this interesting group of characters supporting a very interesting company.
Yeah.
And my 2 cents is that something is going on between Kathy Woods, the Department of Defense, and this company.
Okay.
I mean, how do you put a valuation on a dating mining company that works for the government whose, own data you don't really have access to, even though they're a publicly traded company?
True.
Right. Now, the CEO has been saying, yes, we're going to disclose more. Yes, we'll be more transparent. But transparent about what? We know you work with the IRS. We know you have multiple big government contracts. What exactly are you doing? I'm willing to bet that what you're doing isn't something you want to disclose.
Sure. Of course. Well, if you're working for the government, you can anyway. I mean, there's definitely going to be confidentiality agreements and top security clearance and all that.
Everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. But they do offer their stuff to other industries that need it. So they have 3 products that you'll find on their website. So Palantir Gotham integrates and transforms data regardless of type or volume into a single cohesive data set. So basically the software that makes that does all the data mining comes out with the figures and comes out with the connections and all that. Then they have Foundry, which essentially is the interface that you use to access Gotham. And then they have Apollo, which is the service that's in the cloud, but basically powers everything. It's the service that runs everything all together. So those are the three offerings that they have. But so Bay Area company, shrouded in mystery, has $1 billion in revenue in 2018, which is pretty awesome. So, but it's taken a little of a beating recently.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of interest in the company. This is one I actually heard about a couple years ago. They've been private for a while. And here's the thing. So they offer software enterprise solutions for companies or entities interested in data mining. Why are they interested in data mining? Well, it could just be to, optimize their own business model, sure. But when you work for the Department of Defense, something else is going on there.
Spying, probably.
At the same time, I think, yeah.
Let's say it.
I mean, who knows? I don't even want to know. But I do know that if you have the United States government as your primary partner, you're probably going to do well. I think you'll continue growing. And I'm pretty sure the reason why they chose to go public, and by the way, I think they're going to go private at one point.
How would that work? Sorry, I know this is just a little bit of a tangent, but what is that? How does that work? Everyone's okay. Here's all your money for your shares. We'll see you later.
They're private. They would make it work out in a way to where they would profit.
Okay.
A large deal.
Sure. Okay.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if you have so many secrets, I'm pretty sure they do, you don't want to disclose, why go public unless you want the money, unless the market is euphoric enough to where you can jump in, raise a bunch of cash, and then hop back out and not tell anyone what you're doing.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's
interesting.
That's just me kind of like imagining a scenario.
For sure. What type of time frame would you be imagining? 5 years, 3 years, a certain dollar per share?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I could see them becoming a massive, massive company. But then again, do they want to be that big? Do they want regulation? Do they want eyes on them?
Of course not. Well, if the government is their client and the government does the regulation, pretty sure they'll have some leeway. Just saying.
It's true. That's true.
So,
yeah, this is an interesting one to track. Wall Street Bets kind of deigned it their primary meme stock. I know you mentioned something about that.
So today
last week.
It was number 4. So I use Swaggy stocks.
Number 4 on the chart.
Yeah. So 7.4%. Actually, Apple was up for a while and kind of dipped back down. Tesla's number 2 today. Imagine that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the ones they're talking about, no doubt.
Yeah. I tell you what, it looks like if we move on to technical analysis,
sure, that
we're kind of forming a neckline pattern on a larger head and shoulders chart pattern. I think if you zoom out to the yearly, it should be pretty well defined. You get the left shoulder, the head. Now we're building out the neckline, and then neckline I think is going to be major support. I'd anticipate us to spike into another shoulder. The question is, do we go down, right, and really define that shoulder, or I think we bounce? I think Palantir.
This is a tech company, right? We are. I mean, technically, it would be a tech company. I feel like it's just going to go with the tide. That's for sure. We'll see. So yeah, I mean, getting the neckline support, no doubt about that. Wall Street Bets, it's still heavily followed. I think people like mystery. They like tech. They like secrets. It's one of those things and it's at a pretty good price. I mean, if we're looking at the year, it's right at where the support line sort of kind of is. Or actually it bounced off where the support line sort of kind of is. So we'll see what happens, man. But I do like this one, and looking at the implied volatility, it looks like it might be a good time for a little call action on that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think it's, if it's number 4 on the most talked about stocks chart.
Yeah.
I mean, I buy a call and a put. Yeah, to be honest,
sure.
Just
I know it's tough, man, to get a put now with where it is now compared to where it's been.
Expensive.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think
if the IV comes off a little, why not?
Well, I mean, off what, 92% or whatever it was? It's pretty low. I'm just compared to the stuff that I've been watching recently, anyway. So all right. So moving into everyone's favorite segment, I'm going to go into 3 charts with Matt. So we're going to go ahead and start with the VIX, which, we correctly predicted, or you correctly predicted that after it hit the top, it was just going to jump straight back down. We weren't going to see highs really hovering anymore. And sure enough, there we are.
It's just how the VIX behaves.
Sure.
I mean, we know by now.
Yeah.
We follow it all the time. You get a spike gets crushed. We kind of like chop around for a bit. I mean,
true.
But what's happening now is somewhat interesting because again, we're getting these spikes, later into the rolling options expiration month.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I still think in my heart of hearts that the VIX continues to get crushed, and I'm hoping we can get down to that, $18, $17 level.
You've been talking about that for a while. I hope it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps trying to. The more we keep testing that support over and over again, the more likely it is, in my opinion, that we eventually break through.
Yeah,
and that could mean a serious market rally.
21 is the number. If we actually draw the line, 2107.
What are you feeling? Because you correctly predicted a couple of weeks ago that we were going to continue this volatility,
the choppiness
kind of phase.
I feel like we're on our way up, man. I feel like the choppiness is over. The bears got out. People probably want to make different moves and move some stuff around. I feel like people are kind of settled, and some people were just kind of sitting on the cash waiting to make a move. So those people jumped in. I feel like we're ready to rock, man.
I
feel like after a day like today, though, it's tomorrow's going to be tough. It felt
like a little overwhelming.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be tough for tech. Like if Tesla is up again tomorrow, it's possible. Same thing with Watt. Same thing with a lot of them. It's possible, but be interesting to see what Roblox does. All right, so we'll save the predictions on that. So all right, moving on to QQQ.
So the NASDAQ up 4% today. That's a pretty big move.
Yep.
Seemed rotational in nature, but then again, that's just my 2 cents. My bottom line with tech is that it is the place to be should the market decide to throw us a little more volatility.
Sure.
Long term, definitely the place to be, and that's why I wanted to bring up the chart, because we kind of forget how tech behaved last year during that big COVID crash.
Sure.
It was the safety trade, right? It went down about 20-25%, IWM 40-45%, SPY 30-35%. So it's going to be the strongest in times of stress. That being said, we have seen some rotation out of the Qs, out of the NASDAQ recently and into energy and small caps, which makes sense too. But we'll just have to see. I mean, if, God forbid, this, COVID kind of environment we're living in actually changes permanently people's, buying habits and their, social life, tech could rally again, right? Once the market realizes that.
100%.
Maybe people double down on Netflix instead of going to the movies. I know you're a big fan of the movies. I am too. But, if that happens, Netflix could charge more money, right? They could, what is Netflix at right now?
Netflix, let's see, NFLX.
Not to jump charts here.
I think it is, yeah. Netflix is at 506. Still pretty high. Pretty high.
You know what? Can we actually diverge from the script a little bit and just talk about Netflix really quickly?
Sure.
Because this is
absolutely.
Yeah. So give me your 2 cents on Netflix and whether or not you think it could head higher from here, because we're pretty high. Do you think people are going to, because they raised their prices recently too,
and it didn't do shit? I mean, it did. It's dropped a little bit. Support seems to be around like 469, something like that.
Yeah, that was the breakout area.
470. Yeah.
Can they sustain this based on the business model?
I think people that are in recognize. Here's the thing: for me personally, out of all the ones that are out there, if I had to get rid of all of them, Netflix is the one that I would keep. I just feel like they have the most to offer. I think like they're getting Oscars and Emmys, and they've been doing it for years. And granted, Disney's great and all this and that. But of all of them, I feel like Netflix has the strongest platform, the strongest content. I feel like it can go up from here. There's an argument that once people start to go back to work, they're going to be cutting out a lot of that stuff. And I feel like Netflix might be one of the ones that they keep, which could actually help them in a lot of ways. So that's my 2 cents. 2 cents.
That's basically what I was going to say.
Sure.
The one thing I'll comment on is the fact that a lot of big mainstream kind of older investors tend to diss Netflix.
Sure.
But what they maybe don't
get off my lawn.
Yeah. is that, a lot of people like Netflix, like you and I, because it delivers content that not only is of high caliber, but kind of like speaks to like, a younger generation's values.
Sure.
In a way.
100%.
Like a lot of their stuff is progressive, like there isn't any, kind of like offensive material at all.
I mean, it depends. If you're easily offended, you'll find it. That's for sure. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think it's one of those few stocks that even if they increase their prices, even if their fundamentals suffered, I would still buy.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to buy like at such a high number. But if you look at where it's been to where it is now, I mean, it was up to 580 back, it looks like in January. And right now it's at 506. So it maybe being in not tech stock, entertainment stock, I don't know what you would consider it, but a leisure stock.
I would call it a utility stock.
Okay, sure.
To be honest.
You could say that.
Like Facebook, I think, is a utility stock.
And so it's a good time to jump back in if you're looking at the chart. So Amazon's been freaking amazing for my 401k. All right, so last one, TLT. So 20-year Treasury. This is one of your favorites. We referenced this one quite a bit. So we are at 139.74.
She's a wily old girl. So it looks like we're trying to possibly develop some sort of balance all support. It seems like a fake out to me, to be honest. I think it, heads a little lower. The reason why I'm interested in it is because the in the money options are expressing very low IV, and that makes me think a lot of people are on the other side of the trade, which makes me think that there might be an opportunity for those who want to go along the TLT.
Okay.
And what you're doing by going along the TLT is you're actually betting on bonds, and treasuries in particular. And treasuries have been seeing a lot of action right now.
Yeah.
So you're seeing
10-year.
back off. Yeah, exactly. Just watch the 10-year. If we get a big basis point move up to 2% on the 10-year over the next, like, say, month, the TLT might be an interesting play after that happens, after that unfolds.
Sure.
So like right now we're looking at under 20% on in the money 3-month options.
I mean, it's super low right now.
Yeah. So obviously you're looking for that yield. You can make more money via options on, more volatile stocks. But this one I think is coiling up. I have a feeling that we're going to get some action out of this one.
What type of length are you thinking? Because obviously something that trades so stable, it's fairly stable. And the low of 139, a high of like 170, something like that. What type of length would you feel like you'd be looking for to do some sort of option on that?
So that's going to rally, I think, on the back of the next market correction. And by correction, I actually mean like a true, like correct more than 10%.
Sure.
So, and that's going to get the dollar trade going. The problem is the dollar keeps getting crushed, and there's kind of like no end in sight.
Double-edged sword.
So my instinct would be to wait for the TLT to actually go lower. Because if it punches through that support, it's going to get hit. It's going to go down like that 125, 126 level.
Oh.
Goes down there. I might buy like a couple calls. I mean, I will. I have.
Sure.
And it's a negative carry trade for me right now. But they're out to June. So we'll see what happens. And look, I hope the market does not correct by then. It probably won't. I think we're going to have an excellent, unbelievably good year for stocks.
I hope so.
But it's kind of like my own hedge.
People can't wait to spend all the money they've been saving.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm thinking about buying a computer. There's all this pent-up demand that's not hit the economy.
Yeah.
The question is, how much of that is priced in already?
True. Just like you were talking about the stimulus, how much of that is priced in. So you expect you're thinking it'll go down a little bit more once it hits the 20s. Might be time for a little call action. I got you. All right. Yeah. Well, so I guess we'll jump into our predictions. So this is some of our favorite part of the show. So VIX rest of the week. So this is the house chart. It's our favorite. Well, it's Matt's favorite. So I guess it's kind of my favorite too. 2403 right now. Where do you feel like? And again, let me get the 5-day. So 5 days ago, it was at 24, like 26. Wow, we're almost exactly where we were 5 days ago. So where do you think?
Yeah.
Friday.
It just doesn't want to go too low or go too high right now. I would say the VIX, you're going to put me in a spot like that. By the end of the week, heads lower. And probably closes at like maybe that 22 level, 21 level, something like that.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I feel like the 21, 22 level is where we're going to be going into Friday, and then maybe like Friday, if we have a traditional Friday, maybe we'll go up to like 22, 23. But I agree. I do expect it to be lower. Palantir, I think we're both in agreement we expect that to be higher, right? By the end of the week?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, got wrecked, but it didn't go up as high as some of the other tech stocks today. So it wasn't crazy. So there's a good chance that it could keep going up because people aren't going to try to take profit and hope for a dip. So it's kind of like a healthy, it's funny on a day like today, but it's a healthy 7.7%. So,
and look, like, getting crushed is kind of a badge of honor in today's market.
Sure.
Like if some of these big stocks, like say Watt, which is not a big stock, but in relative terms, there's a lot of people paying attention to it right now. That thing takes a 50% correction and then bounces back to new all-time highs like a couple weeks later. I want to be in that stock.
Yeah.
Not just because of the price action, but because that's resiliency, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I
have it in my IRA, and I have the calls for next month, and I fully expect there to be that big 30-40% jump. It happens at least once every 5 or 6 weeks, and then that's when it's time to do some puts, because it always until it doesn't. But in my experience watching it for over a year, it always dips back down afterwards. So what are you excited about? Me, I'm excited about Roblox. I just can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see if and when or where I'm going to jump in and, see what happens in the pre-market. What about you?
I'm thinking about the Fed's interest rate decision next week.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm bullish. I don't think they move rates. I think they reiterate, dovish guidance, but the bond market's been throwing up a fit.
Yeah.
And we'll see how he decides to word.
Yes, choose your words carefully. That's very true. Yeah. That's true. I mean, but here's the thing. Every time they go up there, it doesn't matter, positive or negative. It's almost every single time the market drops a little bit. They just don't like them, being there and talking about stuff that a lot of them hinge on the balance of. All right, well, any last minute thoughts out there?
I want to buy Roblox tomorrow.
Yeah, I do too. I hope it doesn't get crazy.
It's going to $65.
You think so?
To be honest,
it's going to go up. Yeah, I feel like get in early. It's funny they're not talking about it yet. Maybe they're not talking about it yet on Wall Street Bets that I've noticed, but I feel like this could easily be one that some of these video game nerds, myself included, jump on just because of how cool it is. So, all right. So leave us your comments, your thoughts, all that. Please, once again, spank the like button. Go ahead and subscribe way the hell over there. Thanks for watching. And we will see you guys this weekend. Boom.